You enjoy boating and fishing in for generations to come. Do your part at takemefishing.org.
Local sports radio doesn't stop on Fridays, which is why we bring you Sports Call with Davis and Justin.
College football, NFL, the MLB playoffs, UWF football. We're talking about the big games and sporting news every Saturday from 11 to 1.
Plus, interviews with the athletes, coaches, and fellow journalists.
Sports Call with Davis and Justin.
11 to 1 every Saturday on Pensacola's home for local sports, ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Hi, I'm Matt Kenseth. You don't have to be a race car driver to know that life can be full of drama. Some of it you can't control, like mechanical issues, high winds, and rain delays. But there's some drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you and leave the drama for the racetrack.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Hey, Chad here from the Sports Drive. Fair week. We'll be out there Thursday, Friday, and all of next week. Say something good about your team. We do work on bribes for funnel cakes. Huge upset in college football. The Gamecocks rise up for the occasion, walk right in between the hedges, and pull out an exciting victory. LSU and Alabama, big wins. In the NFL, Saints continue to dominate on D. A mini apocalypse has hit Dallas. Baker's still ticked off, and the Niners are for real. Sports Drive, Fair Week, 5 to 7, right here on ESPN Pensacola.
Football season has arrived, and ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM is where the action is. Bringing your high school football every Friday night, UWF football on Saturdays, and the NFL on Sundays. If you would like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. WEBY Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I am Chad Brilliante. Glad to be with you here as always as we broadcast on this Friday. A lot to get to. Was there a game last night? Something happened? I think as a New England Patriot fan, people know that by now. Somebody just booed in their car. But here's the thing. As a fan of the New England Patriots, people always want to revert back to the teams winning, just like Alabama in college football. And I got about 75 texts. We were out at the fair doing the show, and then we stayed around. There was a lip-sync battle. It was a lot of fun with Cat Country. And I remember, Coach, getting about 75 texts on my phone. Another path to the Super Bowl, easy peasy for the New England Patriots when they thought Patrick was out for the season. And I said, you know what, let's hold. First off, it wasn't like he was the one to deem and beat them, because don't you actually have to beat the Patriots once in the playoffs to have that kind of right to say that they were going to be the ones to stop them? But Patrick Mahomes, the injury yesterday, the Chiefs go on to win 30-6. Before we get to all that, good morning, Coach. How are you doing?
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Big news, though. Obviously, when you have a guy that everybody's deemed the savior of the league, it seems, in the media, you have an injury go down like that. He's a good kid, too. He seems like a good kid.
He's a good kid. I like everything about him. I mean, he handles himself well, exceptionally articulate, and is very gracious with the press and with other people. And certainly looks at the game the way I think most coaches would want their players to look at the game and handle the game and prioritize properly and so on. No, there's everything about him to like, and he does have a great arm and all the physical attributes that you hear about. It's just ridiculous, though, when a kid's played a year, just a little over a year, and last year hadn't even finished the year before people had designated him as the GOAT, the greatest of all time, and that's a little hard to do. Now, I wish him the best. The injury Last night was terrible. And I'm just wondering how that's going to turn out now that we'll get the results of the MRI. But I've seen these things last for quite a while. If he has tendon and ligament damage, they're going to have to go in there and fix it surgically. If not, then he may be able to just go through the rehab and be out 2 to 3, 4 weeks. But anyway, I'm concerned about that for him.
Do you think, though, and Coach, playing quarterback, and understand, and a guy that's coached some of the finest quarterbacks in the NFL and guys that were looked up to, Ferguson's and guys like Frank Reich's, and looking right now at what you've seen right now from that injury, though, if you're sitting there, because they still won the game in the second half, Matt Moore, he's a serviceable backup. He's not great, but he's serviceable.
Yeah.
I mean, but Coach, if you look right now at when you look right now at the Kansas City Chiefs, if they go out there and they continue to win a couple big games, to me, if I was the coach, and I'm not, you've been on the NFL sidelines, I wouldn't be rushing back at all, because right now, Kansas City, you're at that point where you've built a team where you feel like you're a couple plays away in overtime from getting to the Super Bowl, and I think whoever won that game between the Chiefs and the Patriots was going to beat the Rams that day. I think you look at this and say, you know what? If you're winning games, there's no point if they give you a 3 or 4 week timetable to rush Mahomes back for any stats, accolades, MVPs. I would keep him as healthy as possible. But if they're losing and they got to make the postseason, then that's a different story. But that's just me on the call. I mean, this is not one of these. Is this either you come back full or you come back in a way where you have to sit out? Is there any middle ground to be able to play with this where it will linger on?
Oh, I don't think there's going to be any middle ground with him. He's such a valuable asset. You got to get him well, and you can't take a chance on furthering that injury, which you can do if you put him out there too soon. So I don't see that even being a possibility, to be honest with you. I think they'll heal him up to the point that he's everything he was before the injury. Maybe even have a chance to heal his ankle as well, because he's hurting some on that ankle. So all of that should heal up, and he should be, when he comes back, he should be better than ever. Now, I kind of disagree with you a little bit on Kansas City beating the Rams last year.
Okay.
Simply because it was a brilliant game plan. Brilliant game plan. And that really was the blueprint that has haunted the Rams since the Super Bowl. Okay, not Detroit earlier this year. All Detroit did was just copy what Belichick did, his mentor, and talk to Belichick, I'm sure, on what priorities needed to be in place. And then other people followed suit with Detroit. So Belichick and the system and the scheme defensively, and also putting the big fullback in there and the tight end and playing 1940, 1950 football, just going after them with those smaller linebackers and blasting them out of there with leads and whams and Just,
you love that stuff. I mean,
they just took the game over from physically took it over.
Well, and in some part out there, because I'm married to one, and you get a couple people in this area talking about it. I think there's a couple Saints fans that feel like, even though they're not going to get an asterisk mark or be in any of the conversation, that they deserve to be mentioned as like, hey, remember I think the media has gotten over it. New Orleans has not. But, the way that the last 2 seasons for the New Orleans Saints, how they have lost, even though their fans can be rowdy and people from the right there in Louisiana, right there in the Cajun swamp, they can be that way. I love them to death. I married one. But Coach, the way that they've lost with the Stephon Diggs catch that had a 0.001% chance to lose that game, and then the way on that PI call, back-to-back years in a path to go to an NFC title, the one year with Minnesota against Philadelphia, and then last year to go to the Super Bowl. Gosh, it's got to be agonizing to be a fan knowing that you work that hard, you have that good of a roster, and Breeze is running out of time, literally with his age, and those things are happening. That's got to be rough.
Well, I think 2 straight years they very easily could have been in the Super Bowl, and if you look at it that way, we were robbed, And technically, I guess we could say they were.
Yeah.
Because
don't worry,
who would have thought it? They're a good football team, and they're on the precipice right now of another Super Bowl opportunity. So let's see what happens. They got to get Breeze back, and I think they will. He'll be better than ever and ready to roll.
Yes, and they've got those. They've already made enough of those voodoo witch dolls of all the referees that were part of that game last year in Bill Vinovic's crew. Looking at the NFL. By the way, real quickly, we have a lot to get to on today's show, so I don't want to spend a bunch on it. But do you feel, coaches are held accountable if your record's not there, and most coaches know that that's the way of the world. Players, they're not producing, they're benched. Do you feel referees and the union of because it's worse in Major League Baseball, but why do they have a process? Because I feel like I see the same bad refs year in and year out in the NFL. How are they looked at? Because it's hard to crack the code to get rid of them once they're in, sort of as that fraternity of referees. But I feel that there's got to be younger, fresher, better referees than some of these guys that I've seen in their 70s and 80s that have seemed to have been out there for 40 years and making the same bad calls over and over. Am I right, or how does it work with the rest? Because I'm sure you've had a fair share of your conversations with some of the guys.
Well, I think, to be honest, you'd have to go back and truly know what calls they made and truly understand whether they were bad or not, okay? So, but there is a grading process every week. The officials are graded by the teams that participated where they officiated a game, and also by the league officials who work with the officiating crews. So they keep a pretty tight running record on them, and there have been officials that have been eased out.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make a big to-do about it when they ease somebody out of there, but they have done that. Listen, for the most part, I have to tell you this, nobody's been more frustrated with some officiating than I have, especially used to playing the Dolphins with Shula being head of the Coaches Officials Association and getting all the calls. But overall, the NFL officials do a better job than any other officials of major sports, basketball, baseball, college football, pro football. And the reason is they get professionals. They have certain demographics that they're looking for with each person, certain capabilities there that really lead them to there are a number of doctors and lawyers and Indian chiefs that are officials in the NFL, businessmen, heads of corporations, and so on. Those are the type people that become the officials. I have to say they're the best. They're the very best. Do they make mistakes? You bet they do. Are mistakes possible in football? 22 people on the field at one time, all going 100 miles an hour. The chance for a mistake is far greater in the NFL than it is in baseball, basketball, anything else that you can imagine. So do they do a good job with that? Yes, they do. And I would give them credit day one. Now, one thing Chuck Knox always pushed for was to have full-time officials, make them be full-time so that they were totally dependent on doing the best job available. And then in the off season, they do have these whatever you would call them, clinics or whatever with officials. But anyway, he was a big proponent of that. But the problem with that was, and I remember Rozelle talking about it, the problem with that is you're going to lose some of the capable people who are not going to give up a law practice, successful law practice.
Like Ed Hockey League had, right?
Yeah. And there are a number of others. So it's an interesting situation there, really is.
Did you know the guys that you played against? And Don Shula, you brought up. A lot of kids today and Dolphin fans joke about tanking and watching quarterbacks since the days of Dan Marino, even if they remembered Marino. Looking at guys like Pat Devlins and Cleo Lemons, it's been awful for about 2 decades from a quarterback standpoint. But what made Don Shula, because he won that championship, it was the last one. He'd been around the game, even with Baltimore back in the day. The Shula family continued. At one point, Mike had a chance to coach right there with the Alabama Crimson Tide. But what made Don, because you played against him or coached against him right there, but what made him such a good coach in Miami?
Oh, my goodness, Chad. If we've got about 3 or 4 hours.
Really?
He's
got a great steakhouse down there. But yeah.
Yes, he does. And the steak may have had something to do with it. No, I'll tell you, he is. You would have to you'd have to start with intelligence and aptitude for that particular thing. And I think there is a certain aptitude that is more favorable for coaches than would be for other professions. I think his willingness to obviously to spend that much time, work, the work ethic, his ability to lead people, to know different personalities. You'd be surprised how much you really depend on knowing people. You have to get to know people, and you have to have a pretty good understanding of what you need to do to survive. You let the wrong people infiltrate your locker room, or you let the wrong people, types of people, become coaches on your staff, and you'll see what happens. It's disastrous.
Yeah, and Coach, and you've lived it and experienced it. And I always joke because, New England and Alabama are writing a blueprint. Not that Nick Saban and Bill Belichick are found on trees. They're a dime a dozen, the two best of all time maybe. But the blueprint is easy. It's like those books on dummies. If you're fixing a house or you want to become a contractor, you can go to Barnes & Noble and pick up, it says, Guideline to Contracting for Dummies. And the whole book just explains. Or you could watch a YouTube video and find out how to cut a hole in the wall and fix a pocket door. Whatever you have to do, it's out there today. But the difference is every single day and every single week, the Patriots and the Alabama Crimson Tide over the last decade, regardless of what you think, videos and deflated footballs, I could care less. They're writing a blueprint on how to be successful, which means that, look, our culture is we're not going to put up with your crap, and we only want hardworking people, individuals that are going to be talented and on board with us. And it's happened that way where you see colleges. Look, Urban Meyer had a lot of success at Florida, but the 33 arrests get brought up and things happened and, people are fighting. And look at Aaron Hernandez and people like that. And they were still successful. But that it ended up being turmoil at the end instead of success, where today Nick Saban is going to go out in a chariot if he wants. New England, same things. If Antonio Browns or Ocho Cinco's or Hainsworths of the world or Randy Mosses, some work, some don't. But they're not going to be there that much longer if they don't work out, and they're not going to let, like you said, them bring everybody down as a cancer. It's right in front of them, and I know it's easier said than done, but those two teams, to me, it's very simple. If you said what is the most important thing, yes, having Tom Brady's great, and yes, having a bunch of 5-star recruits and Tua is great, but it is the culture and the mindset of both of those programs that you're either with us or against us, and at any point if something goes wrong or you screw up, you're going to pay the consequences for it, and people know that walking in the doors.
Yeah, it's so difficult to start building the foundation, just the foundation for what a successful coach would be made of, or what would contribute to his success. And to a large degree, it would be very similar to other professional, successful people, except that I will tell you, I think it takes a lot more dedication to hours at work. Mm-hmm. It just takes it, regardless of what you feel you can get away with. It takes that. It also takes a certain type of personality, which you can get away with maybe in the business world. Certainly you can in the phony political world. But there's a certain type of personality that you cannot live without. You can't get away with being phony. Players know. Players know when a coach is phony. They just do. It's
like Bobby Petrino at Atlanta, right?
it's strong as can be, and it just They know, and it's not something they respect. Okay, they respect the degree of professionalism and the fairness for all. Discipline. They want discipline, and they know what it's going to take to win, but they want it to be fair for everybody, and they want somebody who's going to be able to enforce that. Not somebody who's going to talk about it, but somebody who's going to enforce it. And they know then when a renegade gets involved in their football team or somebody that would take them down, that coach is not going to let that happen. There's just so many things. I could go on and on and on and on. I'd say
and some get it for a couple years, but it's just so funny because they're the Dan Quinns of the world, where 3 years ago we were deeming him almost Super Bowl champion. They were 18 minutes away from winning a Super Bowl, dominating a Super Bowl. He was going to get a raise. He was going to be like the coach of the year. And now 2 years later, 2.5 years later, they want him out, and he might be out if he loses this week. It's the world and the culture, as so many people are living that high life for a little while. A couple teams have been able to do it forever, and that's the difference between long-term success and guys that want that quick fix. Because there's those quick fixes out there. Maybe these young coaches, but to do it for a long time is so tough.
The quick fix, I think, is more a product of happenstance. You just happen to get there with a good quality group of people, and you can put them on the field with a degree of organization, and they win because they're better. And you got to change, so you have a chance to build up a little momentum. So, but then if you don't have a plan, Chad, and the ability to put in place an organization that is capable of moving forward, like you say, not just for 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, but 3 and 4 years down the road, not mortgaging the future of your franchise, all those types of things. That's when you get the Belichicks and the Sabans and a number of other people that have been there.
To not do things like give up 2 first-round picks for a cornerback that could be a detriment going forward, right? Things like that, little things like that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. It looks like he's going to play this week, and he gets a tested Julio Jones in Jalen Ramsey. For that one guy that got a Jacksonville tattoo all the way down his arm of Jalen Ramsey, good luck. I hope you have a couple turtlenecks for the winner. When we come back, we're going to get to more on what's happening with the games coming up here. A big week. Outside of 3 games, every game in the NFL within 3 or 4 points in the spread. So it should be an exciting week. If you're betting out there, you might as well flip a coin. We're coming back for more. It's Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. I also scored a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
How good are PXG clubs? Golf writers describe them as absolutely remarkable and the best golf clubs out there. Our customers call them insanely good and say they live up to the hype. So what are you waiting for? Step up your game and enjoy golf more than ever. Call 844-PLAY-PXG, 844-PLAY-PXG, or visit pxg.com to book your custom fitting. PXG. Nobody makes golf clubs the way we do. Period.
Hello, everybody. You're looking live at Fansville, a college football utopia. Fansville. Where the rivers flow with ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Delicious. Where every day is Saturday and everyone's a fan, even babies. Fan babies. And the seasons never change because the only season is college football season. Get a taste of Fansville this fall during a college football game near you. Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. Grab some today.
The Paul Feinbaum Show.
Everything you wanted to happen hasn't happened.
Oh my gosh, that's all any of y'all want to talk about is Alabama.
You're really not understanding the conversation, but anyway, we can move on.
Alabama's dynasty has just begun.
Hold on a second, Charles. Somebody wants to talk to you.
I don't want to talk to that compelling moron.
He's nothing but a lame-head old man.
2 till 5 every weekday afternoon. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You're out of your freaking mind, cowturd.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back. It's Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brillante with you alongside Coach K Stevenson as we get set to go for a number of big games coming up here this weekend. And looking at the matchup last night, Kansas City gets a 30-6 win over Denver. And a big win right there, moving to 5-2 on the season, undefeated on the road, even with the big injury of Patrick Mahomes getting hurt right there, and will be out for a couple weeks. It doesn't look like there was a fracture, and that's good going forward. Coach, big games coming up here, and let's take a look at them. Remember, folks, you can go to our Facebook page right now. It's up at ESPN Pensacola, and go ahead and sign up for all you have to do is list the scores down there. We've got your name, and we will have a chance to get you a $25 gift card to Calvert's for the winner of our Pick'ems contest right there. Calvert's in the Heights. Great place, great food. If you're looking for some fun, family atmosphere, they've got a nice bar that rotates around with a number of flat screens. Coach, it really is one of those perfect places to be able to watch the game, but you don't feel like you're handcuffed into a smoky tavern type place where you don't feel comfortable. It really is an open wide. They have that huge area on the outside that you can walk around, and they really did that place right.
Yeah, they certainly did, and the food is outstanding. I've heard from a couple of my friends. I haven't tasted their hamburger yet, but some people say it's the best hamburger in town.
Apparently, they put brisket inside of it.
And then the fish and chips, old world style, is supposed to be outstanding. I know they've got whatever as far as hors d'oeuvres, and chicken wings are good. I'm a pretty good judge of chicken wings coming from Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm sure right there. That's
right from the Anchor Bar. But their chicken wings are outstanding. And keep in mind, now they've got all those televisions, and they have the NFL ticket, which means that if you want to see a certain team play that you can't get on either CBS or NBC or Fox, then you can get it at one of the channels there.
Yes.
They'll have available.
And the games for the Pick'em contest, the Minnesota Vikings versus the Detroit Lions, the Houston Texans versus Indianapolis Colts. Also, the big matchup with the Saints and Bears. A lot of people in this market will be paying attention to. And then the Sunday night football game with the Philadelphia Eagles and Dallas Cowboys. And looking at the college football games, you got South Carolina and Florida, and that also will be the tiebreaker right there. You got the matchup in one that a lot of people will be paying attention to with LSU and Mississippi State. Because, Coach, I don't see it being a letdown at all, but these are the type of games it gets loud with the cowbell there. I mean, even if you had 10 people with those cowbells ringing in Starkville, and they'll be up for this game because they just lost to Tennessee. They feel embarrassed. They're not as good, but they still got some athletes. And you know that when you get a shot at an Alabama or LSU, even if you have inferior athletes, this is like their national title game. So LSU had that big win against Florida. This one, even though LSU is a 18-point favorite, I think Mississippi State keeps it closer than people expect.
Yeah, and keep in mind too, this is what people refer to as a trap game.
Mm-hmm.
LSU just had a big game. Now they've got some other big games coming up, and Mississippi State is that cousin that you feel like you can beat up all the time, but you just hate to go visit them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I see. Mississippi State's going to play them tough, but keep in mind there's a lot of turmoil at Mississippi State too that people aren't aware of. Joe Moorhead has not done a good job there, and that's last year and certainly this year. It's rumored, and I'm sure they're hoping that it's going to happen, but it's rumored he's going to be offered the Rutgers job. That's heavy rumor. So I'm sure Mississippi State fans are hoping that Rutgers makes the move, and they do give him.
I think so. And you know what I think? I think he is a good X's and O's guy. He is out of his element in the range of trying to compete against the big dogs in recruiting. In the SEC, you really have to be a recruiter first and a coach second. And you can get away with. I mean, the good ones do both. The good ones can do both, but you have to be able to walk into houses and explain when you're in Tuscaloosa or in Oxford or sitting there in Fayetteville why somebody should come to Mississippi State and Starkville, where if you've gone there, not too much, you get a couple of those rundown shacks and a couple barbecue joints, but there's not much going on there. So you have to convince people why they should come play at Starkville instead of playing at Tuscaloosa, where they're building national champions every year, at LSU, where they're building champions, at now Texas A&M with all the resources and a coach that's won a national title, at Florida that's getting better every single week and winning national titles. All of these schools are around you, Georgia's and Auburn's, and Joe Moorhead doesn't seem like the kind of guy that could walk into a room and convince me why I need to be at Mississippi State. And they lost 4 guys in the first round of the NFL draft last year. Those weren't his players. Those are Dan Mullen's guys that he was able to get, Jonathan Abrams and the guys up front, the big guys on the defensive line like Simmons. Coach, to me, he's out of his element when it comes to recruiting. So I'd get out now before how Brett Bielema found out at Arkansas. I don't see the path for Joe Moorhead getting any better, and I think he's a good innovative mind on offense. The way he did it with Saquon Barkley, he took Penn State from 110th in the nation to 10th. But from a recruiting standpoint, the athletes, I just don't see it getting any better for him.
Yeah, well, I would agree. It's probably a combination of all that you talked about there. He does have some problems. I think he's got some problems schematically too.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's the innovative whiz kid that can take whatever he's got and make it happen. I just don't see that with him. But anyway, he'll be better off at
Yes. And we do have some other games on that list. You can go ahead and compete with us right now with a chance to win $25 to Calvert's in the Heights. Go to our ESPN Pensacola Facebook page right there. Number of games. Michigan State, Penn State will be on that as well. Michigan versus Penn State will be on that. And the matchup right there. That's going to be a good – I'm intrigued with that matchup. I always enjoy watching Jim Harbaugh lose. Sorry, yeah. Michigan fans, I do. But this one should be fun because, Coach, it seems Penn State's always good for that one slip-up. But is this the week? Do you think it gets done?
I don't know. Penn State's always good for losing games they shouldn't do, especially since they've got that staff up there. Also remind them they could text
Yes.
the results in by our phone number.
Yes, 850-623-1330. You can go ahead and text in your score, too. 850-623-1330 is the number to text in, and we'll get your picks and predictions as well on the game. So I want to talk a little bit about what's going on here with in the NFL. The Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles, very intriguing game this week, Coach. Newspaper articles today, I wake up, Ezekiel Elliott's dad is in trouble for some kind of big cat getting out and terrorizing people. I mean, things are just ridiculous. I just imagine Jerry Jones' face getting asked that question. But when you look right now at the way that this game, some fan base is going to be irate, regardless, because somebody has to lose unless they end in a tie, and somebody's going to be under 500 7 games into the season.
Yeah, it's crucial game, no doubt about that. And we're going to be picking these games, and probably should start doing that.
Okay.
So we don't run out of time. But I really think that this is anytime you play a conference team, it's like playing two. It's winning two or losing two. And I think it's going to be in Dallas, but I really like Philadelphia.
All right, let's get to a couple of the picks and predictions. When we come back, we'll break down the NFL and college, the big games, starting off with one that a lot of people are going to be watching as the Chicago Bears and New Orleans Saints will battle it out. And the Bears, a 3-point favorite, but the Saints, a team that continues to win with Teddy Bridgewater. It's all coming back on Talk Football with former NFL coach Kay Stevenson right here on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Stephen A. Smith here. If you're like me, you have a mortgage and a family who depends on your income, then you need to protect the ones you love with life insurance. Life insurance can help pay off a mortgage or send the kids to college. It's peace of mind. Think you can afford it? Chances are Select Quote can help you get it for less than $1 a day. Select Quote comparison shops up to 10 highly rated companies, including Prudential, Banner Life, and Mutual of Omaha, and others, to find you the company with the best rates. For example, Select Quote could find a 35-year-old man a $500,000 policy for under $21 a month. That's less than $1 a day. Select Quote's breakthrough technology allows them to quickly match you with the best insurance company to find your best policy. Plus, quotes are free. Start protecting your family today. Call Select Quote at 1-800-601-6992. That's 1-800-601-6992. Or go to selectquote.com/Smith.
Get full details in the example policy at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
When weather hits, the right wiper blades make all the difference. That's when the Michelin Man is on your side, helping you see better and drive safer with new Michelin Premium Wiper Blades. Designed with exclusive SmartFlex technology or frameless beam design, Michelin blades flex to the curve of your windshield, giving you unparalleled, streak-free, long-lasting, all-season performance. So when the going gets tough, be ready with Michelin Premium Wiper Blades. It's a difference you can see. Available at Walmart, Menards, Mills, and Plains.
Lowe's helps property maintenance pros save on what they need to do the job right. Look up to 35% off select appliance special values. And through our quote support program, you can get discounts on large volume purchases, like 4-piece kitchen suites as low as $1,169. Save every day on 5-gallon pails of Valspar 2000 interior paint starting at $89.98. Plus, get 5% off eligible purchases every day just by using your Lowe's business credit account. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Appliance offers valid through 10/23. Terms and conditions apply. Subject to credit approval. Exclusions apply. U.S. only.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back. Talk football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. You can text in your picks, 623-1330. Also go to Facebook right there at ESPN Pensacola, 1330, 99.1, and sign up for our Pick'ems contest for a $25 gift card to Calvert's in the Height. Well, looking right now at the games, let's get to some NFL big games. Coach, let's start off with the noon games here, a number of big games, and one that is not so big, so we can get out of the way. Your Buffalo Bills, former team, against the Miami Dolphins. A 4-1 Buffalo versus the 0-5 Miami Dolphins. It's a 17-point spread in favor of Buffalo.
17 points is a lot, but I think Buffalo, the game's in
it is in Buffalo, yeah. 63. It's not one of those games where you can't see in front yet.
Yeah,
I mean, that's...
Yeah. It's, well, you never know about game time. But I'm going to take Buffalo on that, and I think maybe they'll even cover the spread.
By the way, on those games that they are snowing, how quickly those guys get the chance? Are they on call at all times in Buffalo when it comes to December to get those field tours? Oh, you'll be watching a game.
Oh, they're working for us right there. They're in the stadium.
I've watched games start, it's all green, and by second quarter, you can't see 5 feet in front of you.
I've had it happen at halftime. Going at halftime, it'd be perfectly beautiful weather. Come out after halftime and can't see the other side of the field.
Snowplow gets paid a little extra on that one. Jacksonville and Cincy. A little surprised about this. It's only a 3.5-point spread in favor of Jacksonville. They're 2-4, though. All this Minshew mania, they keep losing close games. And then the 0-6 Cincinnati Bengals. Who gets the job done here? It's in Cincy, and the Jags are a 3.5-point favorite.
I like Jacksonville, their defense, and I have no confidence whatsoever in the Bungles.
As many don't, even their fans. Minnesota and Detroit. Looking at the matchup right there, the Minnesota Vikings and Detroit Lions. The Vikings are a 2-point favorite in Detroit. Both teams play in a dome, so it's not the weather's not going to affect either way. But Minnesota coming off that big win, but they're a better home team than road team. 4-2 versus the 2-1 Lions. Coach, who do you like?
This can be a great game too because they're going to give them all the Detroit will give them everything and more than they want. But I think Minnesota's find some way to pull it off and beat the 2.5-point spread.
The Oakland Raiders, surprisingly at 3-2 this year, and the Green Bay Packers at 5-1. It's at home. Green Bay is only a 5-point favorite in Lambeau Field for this matchup.
No, I like Green Bay. Now they're absent some receivers. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to come up with some receivers somewhere. But I like them to win and to cover.
Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts. We just got the word from Jeremy a few minutes ago that we will have that game right here starting at noon after we're done with the NFL Tailgate Show at World of Beer for the Houston Texans and Indianapolis Colts. So it's your player right there and friend and Frank Reich, and he's a 1-point favorite, and his team taking on the Houston Texans at home.
Well, certainly I'm gonna be pulling for the Colts, and I'm gonna take the Colts, and they cover that one. I just think that they'll do a good job in planning and put Watson make Watson throw the football from the pocket. That's first and foremost.
Houston, it seems like we'll see, but Deshaun Watson very streaky player. And right now, the last couple weeks, they've been streaking the right way. But Indy's the type of team that can take a team out of their element because of the physical offensive line and the way they abuse the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that offensive line is just
it's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's been built by Frank and his squad right there. Looking at the noon game right there with the Arizona Cardinals and New York Giants. Somebody's got to win this. Daniel Jones, he's played two tough teams back-to-back weeks, but he gets back home where now he's 2-2 as a starter. The Giants are 2-4 overall. Cardinals 2-3-1. Two rookies, two fascinating rookies will battle it out. Two top 10 picks. It is the Giants, a 3-point favorite.
Yeah, I'll take the Giants, and I think they'll cover that 3 points.
Looking at the matchup with the San Francisco 49ers, Kyle Shanahan goes back to a place where back in 2013 he was the offensive coordinator for his dad, Mike. And the Redskins, turmoil, they fired their coach, Jay Gruden. A lot of their players have been banged up. It looks like Dwayne Haskins is not ready to start. 1-5 versus 5-0, but it's in Washington. A 10-point spread in favor of San Francisco.
Yeah, I think San Francisco covers, and they whip up on Washington pretty good.
LA Chargers versus the Tennessee Titans. The Charger organization playing for them and being around there. Looking at a 2-4 versus 2-4 matchup. Both these fan bases expect at least close to the playoffs, and one of these teams is going to fall way back. Coach, the Titans are a 2.5-point favorite.
This is going to be a tight football game. Where is it being played?
It is in Tennessee, in Nashville, yep.
Well, they've got the home field advantage there. But, listen, the Chargers have played much better. You got a quarterback change in Tennessee now.
With Ryan Tannehill, yes.
Tannehill's going to be the quarterback. I'll take Phillip Rivers over Tannehill.
Yeah, I like the Chargers, too, in that one. Saints and Bears. This is a huge matchup. It is the 5-1 Saints versus Chicago Bears. Now these are the 325 games here. And the Saints, it's still going to be nice weather. Remember all those games in the Northeast, in the Midwest. Still 63 they're expecting around kickoff. Bears, though, a 3.5-point favorite over the New Orleans Saints.
No, I'm going to take New Orleans. I think it's too valuable. Everything's too valuable right now to New Orleans. They're just not going to let anything get away from them.
If you want to watch good defense, this will be a good game.
Oh, great.
A lot of good players out there.
Outstanding defenses, yeah.
Baltimore and Seattle, two teams that have been known for great defenses, a little bit different this year as the over-under is set at 49, so expected some higher scoring games out of these two teams. Lamar Jackson goes in to take Russell Wilson. A lot of scrambling. If you're an old-school football coach, it's not going to be the typical type of game you're used to watching when Baltimore plays Seattle. Seattle is a 3-point favorite at home.
Yeah, that home field advantage for Seattle is so big. I believe the travel and the crowd themselves, their fans there. Yeah, I'm going to take Seattle and give up the points.
All right, then the NFL Sunday night football game, huge one. We talked about it earlier. Philadelphia Eagles and Dallas Cowboys, both teams 3-3. It is the Cowboys, a 2.5-point favorite at home.
Well, it's going to be a great game. I think it's a coin flip, but I'm going to take the Eagles right now and the 2.5 points.
And then Monday Night Football, the New England Patriots 6-0 going up against the 1-4 Jets, although they're on a one-game winning streak, and they got Sam Darnold back from Mono. He beat Mono, and he beat the Dallas Cowboys last week. It's a 10-point spread in this one in favor of the Patriots.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wait till Monday to pick that game.
Okay, let's make that, yeah.
Because you never know what can be said over the weekend.
Between those two teams, for sure, too.
Darnold, too, has come out with some pretty strong comments, and if he continues that over the weekend, you can believe that
spread might go to 40.
Yeah,
you want to do that. When we come back, we're going to get to some of the college football games here. Talk football with Coach K. Send in your picks, 623-1330, 850-623-1330. And you also can go to our ESPN Pensacola Facebook page. Coming back for more with the NFL coach, K. Stevenson, right here on Talk Football on this Friday afternoon.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, Please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Dude, it's game day, and I'm fired up that football is back.
I know, but I'm bummed they don't show my favorite team on TV around here.
All right, well, what about that place Calvert's? They're a really cool English pub-style restaurant, and they have a really good drink menu.
Yeah, but what about the game?
Don't worry, they have the NFL Sunday ticket and plenty of TVs, so we can watch any game that we want.
Ooh, I just looked at the menu, and that Abbey Road burger is calling my name.
Calvert's in the Heights Restaurant and Bar, 3102 East Urbana Street, calvertsintheheights.com.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range, Highway 29 in Car City.
If you have frequent heartburn, take control of it with Prilosec OTC instead of stashing antacids everywhere, like in your junk drawer, buried under old batteries and hotel pens, or in your purse, hiding in the one pocket you won't check. You even have antacids on your nightstand, which are very hard to see in the dark. It's time you stopped stashing antacids and started taking Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn.
It's possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days, not for immediate relief.
A change in season means it's time to check your tires. And Goodyear Auto Service has just what you need to make this fall great. Think weekend getaways, scenic drives, and great deals, like up to $225 in savings this month. That's $75 in instant savings when you purchase and install a set of 4 new Goodyear or Dunlop tires, plus up to $150 back on select tires by online or mail-in rebate when you use your Goodyear credit card. But hurry, this offer ends October 31st. Terms and conditions apply. Visit GoodyearAutoservice.com to learn more.
LSU up, Georgia down. The MLB playoffs continue, plus UWF on the road at West Georgia. Will Kennedy takes over at 12:30 on Sports Call with Davis and Justin this Saturday at 11 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome to ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1. Pensacola's home to the best talk in sports, new and improved. We are ESPN Pensacola 1330 and FM 99.1.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back. Talk football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. We were out at the fair yesterday for my show. Tonight, I just want to let people know we will not be out there expecting a tropical storm. I got to pay attention. As you get older, these, when you have a house and things like that, Coach, it's important to pay attention to things like the weather. And I'm realizing, someone yesterday is like, there's a tropical storm coming our way. I was like, no, really? I was like, I just knew it was cooler. I got jackets out. But no, we will not be out there tonight. They're expecting some rain. So if you're being out there, be careful. It's always crazy on the roadways out on Pine Forest and over by the fairgrounds. But we will not be out there for the show here tonight. Coach, we got a few minutes, so I want to get to all the big games in college football. Remember, you can send in your picks, 850-623-1330, and go to the Facebook page on the games. We will pick against the spread and have an opportunity to win. The games are posted right there at our Facebook page. Let's get to the college football games and looking right now at some of the big matchups. Let's start off with the Florida Gators and South Carolina Gamecocks. Florida checks in. It's an early start, 11 o'clock kickoff. First game right there as they'll take on South Carolina at William Bryce in a game where they are it's a 5.5 point spread in favor of Florida.
Wow, this is going to be a tough football game. Tough game for Florida. South Carolina's going to play the heck out of them. Both had big games last weekend. I just say I got to go with Florida. I got to go with the Gators here and give up the points.
All right, looking at our other game right here, Penn State versus Michigan, a big matchup right there. It is in Happy Valley and Beaver Stadium, and they are a 9-point favorite over the Michigan Wolverines.
I think I'd take Michigan in the 9 points. I really do. Penn State, if you think back over the last 3 or 4 years, they've lost a lot of big games that they were favored to win. Just couldn't come to scratch.
Looking at the matchups as we continue, one that might not have the same track of some of the biggest games, but it's big for our local market. Florida State and Wake Forest. Florida State is a 2.5-point underdog at Wake.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately for Florida State, I think Wake Forest is going to be waiting for them up there, and just too much. They got too much going for them right now. Wake does, and Seminoles can't find a way out. So Wake wins it.
Continuing with some of the big games this week in college football, looking at the matchup right here between the Auburn Tigers and Arkansas Razorbacks. Arkansas has had a couple tough times, but Auburn needs this win. They only have one loss right now, so if they can get their act together, if they can find a way to beat LSU next week, and Alabama still not officially out of it, it is a 17-point spread in favor of Auburn going to Arkansas.
I'll take Arkansas in the 17 points.
Okay.
You bet. In fact, this may be the upset of the week. Arkansas could win this.
LSU at Mississippi State. The spread's gone all the way up until it's now 21 points in favor of LSU.
I'll still take LSU and give up the points.
It's hard to see the way Joe Burrow is playing that there's going to be a drop-off.
Yeah.
Way, and he just continues to dominate offensively. Moving on to a big game for this coach keeping his job long-term. Jimbo Fisher against Ole Miss. It's in Oxford in the Grove right there, and it's a 7-point spread in favor of Texas A&M on the road. They're 3-3. They got to win this game.
Yeah, they've got to win it, and they're probably a little better than Ole Miss right now. But so you gotta take Texas A&M there.
Big game right now for a lot of people taking a look at the national title scene. For the folks out there, we talked about the way that they've been getting it done, and they've done it sort of silently too, under the radar, but still in the mix overall. Utah minus 14 against Arizona State. If they can win out, there's still a shot at the Pac-12 right now for Utah.
The minus 14, that scares me. I take Arizona State and the 14 points.
Looking at the matchup with Oregon and Washington, this is a big matchup. Oregon right now the favorite to win the Pac-12, and a team that was only a few plays away from beating Auburn and being undefeated right now and be a top 7-8 team in the nation. They're only a 3-point favorite, though, and anytime you go up north to the Northwest to take on Washington, the Huskies, it's tough. But it'll be a 2:30 kickoff, Oregon minus 3 at Washington.
This could be one of the better ball games of the day.
Very much could be, yeah.
And I'll tell you what, if Oregon had beaten Auburn, they would be now well on the way to a playoff slot in one of the 4 teams. I'm going to take Oregon and give up the points.
All right, we continue through here with some of the biggest games from the week in college football. We got a game right now out of, it looks like continuing through Duke and Virginia, minus 4. The Virginia Cavaliers a 4-point favorite over Duke. We have to mention the ACC in some sense.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, Virginia was on the way to a good season, but
losing to Miami doesn't help.
Yeah, that doesn't help. But I'm going to take Virginia here.
Tonight, Ohio State Buckeyes. This game has been booted over to the Big Ten Network because baseball had a rain delay. It was going to be on Fox Sports where we could all watch it. Now, unless you own the Big Ten Network, you will not get it. But Ohio State, a 28-point favorite at Northwestern. Pat Fitzgerald's having a tough year at 1-4.
Yeah, I know it, but you always got to be alert for Northwestern. They're a tough, gritty group. Their coach is the same way. He was an excellent player there. He played that way. He was a linebacker.
And these are these Friday night games. These games are always at the hometown of one, like when Syracuse beat Clemson a couple years ago. These Friday night games are always a little bit tricky on the road because they know the national spotlight's going to be on them, and they get up for that. So,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they get away with that though, because in certain areas, I guess they haven't received the warnings, but the high school associations are definitely afraid of colleges starting to play on Friday nights. So
it makes sense. Baylor undefeated right now at 18 in the country, 6-0, taking on Mike Gundy and his Oklahoma State Cowboys. He's a man. He's about 50 now. They're a 4-point favorite. The Cowboys. They're in Stillwater.
No, I like the Baylor Bears here. I think Baylor's a good football team.
Matt Rule's a good coach.
He's a good coach, and it's going to be interesting to see what how they end up. They're going to force something out there if they're undefeated going into the playoffs.
Coach, Kentucky and Georgia. Georgia now number 10 in the nation after the loss, but no drop in the spread, really. They're a 25-point favorite over the Kentucky Wildcats back home in Athens.
No, I like Kentucky and 25 points. Now, Georgia will win the football game, I think, but 25 points is too much to give up.
Tennessee at Alabama. The spread is 7,000. No, it's minus 35 in favor of the number one team, the Crimson Tide. It'll be an 8 o'clock Central Time kickoff. 8 o'clock Central Time. This is a 9 o'clock East Coast game on ESPN.
Yeah, I like Alabama and would give the points here. I think Alabama will play extremely well.
All right. Well, those are our college football games up and down the board here, and you can join us for the Pick'em contest as well. Any chance, by the way, we got Clemson-Louisville. Clemson's a 24-point favorite. Any chance Louisville makes any impact on this? They're just not that good of a football team.
No, they're not, and they're better, I think, than their record.
Yeah.
But 28 points, again, is a lot to give up, but you'd almost have to take Clemson the way they're playing.
And then you got West Virginia at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a 33.5-point favorite, and they're clicking on all cylinders. West Virginia lost a lot of players last year, including Will Greer.
They did, and they're not playing well to boot. So I'd take Oklahoma.
Well, there you go. Well, Coach, enjoyed the pick'ems, and looking forward to doing this again next Monday and talking some NFL football with you.
You bet.
All
you
right.
bet.
For Coach K. Stevenson, I'm Chad Brillante. Coming up, it is the Stephen A. Smith Show, and then the Paul Feinbaum Show coming up here, and then the Sports Drive, not at the fair, back home here tonight in the saddle. Thanks again to former NFL coach. Go to our Facebook page and have some fun with us right there. Got kiddos running around. They're getting excited. It's football weekend right here. UWF Argos as well. You can catch on ESPN Pensacola.
1330 AM, 99.1 FM is where the action is. Bringing your high school football every Friday night, UWF football on Saturdays, and the NFL on Sundays. If you would like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
From coast to coast, the Stephen A. Smith Show starts right now.
Welcome to hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show. Coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the national airwaves of ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. In any moment now, we're expecting to have the chairman and the CEO of the Walt Disney Company, Mr. Bob Iger. Robert Iger, to be exact. Mr. Bob Iger. A phenomenal leader for this company. He's been around for a long, long time. Started out in 1974. You talk about ABC, you talk about Cap City, you talk about Disney ultimately purchasing that entity, and him being at the helm of Walt Disney since 2005. And the things that he has accomplished in his career, it's just not the kind of thing you see every day. It's just that simple. And so when I had an opportunity to interview him, thinking about interviewing him, I reached out. And reading this book, The Ride of a Lifetime, Lessons Learned from 15 Years as CEO of the Walt Disney Company. I definitely want to talk to him. Any moment now, I'm being told that he will be on the phone with yours truly, and I can't wait to talk to him. Because in this day and age, no matter what line of work you're in, it doesn't matter whether you're a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, whether you're running a small company, or whether you're an entrepreneur, whatever the case may be, there are leadership qualities to learn from it. And I am told that he is on the line right now. The chairman and CEO of Walt Disney, the one and only Bob Iger, is on the line with yours truly. Good morning, good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon or good morning. Good morning from L.A., and I guess good afternoon on the East Coast.
That's
Steven.
right.
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show. My first of all, this book is just absolutely sensational. For those, again, The Ride of a Lifetime, Lessons Learned for 15 Years as CEO of the Walt Disney Company. The first order of business to ask, what inspired you to write this book right now?
Well, I've had a 45-year career and about 15 years in this role, and I've been asked often, particularly as CEO, what the secret of my success is or what leadership qualities have served me the best, mostly by young people starting out in the business or by students. And I always like to be generous with my time and my advice over the years, and I thought this would be one way to be generous with my time and advice in a much more efficient way. And so I decided to tell my story and to do so by infusing leadership lessons with it and serve all these young people. And I'm also donating all the proceeds to create scholarships for journalism students to foster more diversity in the field of journalism. So the proceeds. So the book is written for a good cause on the educational front, as well as a good cause just in terms of giving back to young people who maybe could use a little advice along the way.
And when you look at the young people from today's generation, what do you find to be different about them compared to younger folks from, decades ago, particularly in this day and time as you highlight what you think they need to learn most of all? What do you find so different about them today compared to yesteryear, per se?
Well, I think they're looking at a world that is changing far more rapidly than the world that I looked at in my day, where embarking on a career, I think there was a fair amount of certainty, not necessarily in how you were going to do in whatever business you chose, but in the business itself. And today, I think because change is just so dynamic and it's happening so quickly, I don't think they view the world in the same way. It's just changing so fast. And that, I think, suggests that some advice would go maybe a long way in this environment, meaning I think it's actually even more valuable today to these people because of how much change there is and what they're facing. I also think they are a little less optimistic about their future, perhaps, than I was. I don't know how you were starting out, but I know in my case you looked ahead and you fundamentally believed that the world that was in front of you had the potential to be better than the world that had existed in the past, particularly for your parents' generation, happier, healthier, wealthier, et cetera. I'm not sure they feel that way today. I think there's a skepticism or even a cynicism, a pessimism even, that exists that didn't when we were starting out.
Do you feel that skepticism is justified on their part?
I do. I mean, I hope that it doesn't discourage them from pursuing their dreams. But I think it's a less forgiving environment. It's not as giving an environment than it used to be. Now, to some, it may look really exciting because of all the change that exists. But I think change has a tendency, while it can deliver a lot of opportunity, has a tendency to create just as much anxiety as opportunity. And I think that's what they're trying. I think they're trying to balance that.
Bob, I asked that question because in reading your book, I basically compartmentalized it for myself in 4 categories. I think the book has really been about overcoming odds, overcoming fear, decision-making, and obviously relationships. All 4 components are incredibly essential, and I think you broke those down brilliantly. When you talk about odds, particularly as we look at today's generation, could you educate a lot of folks? What's the biggest odds, the biggest stack that was against you, really elevating yourself in this business that you were able to overcome?
Well, I think more than anything, I started out with, relatively. I came from a modest background. I don't know that I had anything that was at least overtly special that people would see in me. Meaning, I was, I was just normal starting out. I don't know that I necessarily had specific skills that they were citing, or that I was overly intellectual, or my college background was relatively modest in nature. I went to a good school, Ithaca College, but not a special school in terms of its stature. And so I think for me, it wasn't that the odds were necessarily against me, is that they weren't necessarily for me either. In other words, I had to create my own odds, my own opportunity.
Bob
More
Iger.
than anything else. And I think actually that's a lesson in itself. Overcoming odds sometimes is not necessarily the resistance that you might be facing. It's just the fact that there's nobody that's necessarily handing you anything easy either. And I think you have to understand that. And for me, the biggest discovery was